There's a bleak, lonely kind of beauty, an emptiness, for all its fullness, lonely to the core. My father says the river is like a living, breathing thing. It clears your head after a mad day at work. A giant metal swan, never moving, as the river effortlessly slides by.
A magnet fisher and a plastic dinghy, the willow swishing in the breeze. Not got anything out of the river today, mate. Nothing at all. Very quiet today.
Newark originally used to be a big brewing town. Most people forget that. Fab soup, mate. Did you make it yourself?
Sorry, I don't really know where the Trent is, mate. I think it's possibly down there, but I can't promise anything.
You look like you're from the last of the Mohicans, like a trader or trapper.
It's where everyone normally picnics on a hot Sunday. Lovely atmosphere.
My problem was I'm too nice for management, not corporate enough.
I was in a wheelchair when I came out, and I couldn't walk for 30 days.
I really miss getting on the water during lockdown. Keeps me sane.
I love it down here. It's great for wildlife. You get to see so much.
It's great for graffiti down here. No one cares about it.
The river's down there, mate. It's down there, not up on the bridge.
It just becomes this evil, swirling mass. You wouldn't stand a chance if you went in. You get sucked under. It was making really strange burping noises in the queue at the cafe.
4 prats, totally blottoed, took a quad off the track, dragged it over the grass. Daft idiots ended up snapping the bows right off. Ruined it. We were litter picking and we rescued this baby duckling near the tram lines. We took him to save him, but he died.
I lost over 2 stone in weight when I got COVID. I was so weak afterwards. I lost the entire contents of my stomach.
I get to know the swans and watch how they look after their young.
There was nothing left to bring up.
You get to hear all the sounds. I don't like the cruisers, but I love hearing the chug, chug, chug of the narrowboat's engines.
You'll get a lifetime of pleasure out of that.
The river comes right up to the front door in flood. It's quite scary.
It's difficult to know who to trust around here. Sometimes people tell lies. Newark has gone all gentrified since the high-speed London train.
As the river flows, you should be able to flow on foot.
The near sound of birdsong meets the distant sounds of road traffic. A palpable prettiness with a hint of something rather less savoury.
Normally I play percussion, but I can't at the moment due to an injury.
Oliver Cromwell had most of the castle demolished in the Civil War.
I want my ashes scattering in the Trent after Cromwell Lock. They can follow the Gulf Stream and they'll end up in the River Ganges.
Up to then, I did everything for her. Her happiness was all that mattered, that and the kids. I then got really depressed for 2 years. My friends saw me through it.
We were going to celebrate our 50th with a party in the Castle Undercroft, but then my wife ended up dying just before that, so it never happened.
I'm a ukulele player. I teach students online from all over the world. I've not enjoyed teaching the piano online at all. It's not the same.
There's a brilliant violin making course at Newark College.
I've only missed 2 days by the river in the last year.
You can do a degree in piano tuning there as well.
I used to be a shop steward, a bit of a troublemaker you could say.
My great-grandmother and her brother used to run the village shop, now long gone.
The river's like a social boundary between the haves and have-nots.
The boys are both away at university. They have no interest in the shop at all.
I go swimming at Colic Park, but I wouldn't risk it in the Trent.
I've got 2 perch and a bream already. What's not to like about that?
Did you know Home Pierpont was the birthplace of man-made whitewater kayaking?
I've gone to the Drakeholes Tunnel and back. It's amazing for wildlife.
They put his death down to COVID, but who knows what really finished him. We had to organise the funeral and flowers and everything over the phone. We had to organise the funeral and flowers and everything over the phone. We had to organise the funeral and flowers and everything over the phone. We had to organise the funeral and flowers and everything over the phone. We had to organise the funeral and flowers and everything over the phone. We had to organise the funeral and flowers and everything over the phone. We had to organise the funeral and flowers and everything over the phone. We had to organise the funeral and flowers and everything over the
There's supposed to be 3 sources, but Biddulphmore is the real main one. It comes down a waterfall.
It doesn't really become a river proper until you get to Stone.
I noticed that you were passing by West Stockwith on your travels. This is where my mother's side of the family and I come from.
My husband's great uncle was from here.
I'm a whitewater kayaker.
It's like time shifts, and your smallness makes you grow exponentially. There's been 3 separate lockkeepers' houses in Newark over the times.
After my greats had passed away, my Uncle Tom did look at renovating the building, but sadly a survey revealed it only had shallow foundations, so it wasn't safe to use anymore and was demolished.
I work at the brewery. It's massive over there. You can't really miss it.
I just do it for my own pleasure. I'm not fussed if anyone else sees them. You need to ask Niall about the Trent and photographs. Asking one river about photographing another. That's funny, isn't it?
I've just got this new Nikon. Always a Nikon. I'm hoping to bag an otter. People really need to know just how bad it can be when you get it. We moved here from St Albans 12 years ago. The shop was in the family. It's been okay during lockdown. Business has been good. Long hours though. We're selling the shop and converting next door into an Indian takeaway. I've almost completed it. Do you want to have a look round?
There's Keedby and Althorpe Working Men's Club. It gets really busy usually. Always a great night no matter what day of the week. Excellent beer and amazing staff. A pub home from home. You're always welcome no matter the time, day or night.
The boys are both away at university. They have no interest in the shop at all.
There's a footpath sign posted 200 yards and it's just down there.
It feels different since lockdown. Friendly, but not quite as open.
I've worked here for 22 years. It's a working reservoir. It's a really good job.
Stoke's been down on its luck for a long time. It's very bleak here.
It's just good to be out again. It feels almost normal out in countryside.
It just disappears under the A500, then lies hidden throughout most of Stoke.
I'm still avoiding shops like. I've been into Newcastle once, but I didn't like it one bit.
Historically, you see, it was all about the canal, never the river, the Trent Mersey Canal.
It's not too bad round here. It's a bit dodgy, a few streets away, you know. Lots of drugs. Is that your special suit for canoeing? Your special action suit? FAB.
It's all just lacking a bit of love. It's a kind of no man's land down here.
We moved here to be near my wife's family, just before COVID kicked off.
It was flooded right up to the bridge arches this January, well high.
I really thought my time was up.
The Trent used to be seen as a dividing line between the north and south.
I ended up in intensive care for 11 days.
There's over 30 species of fish in that Trent, but I couldn't list half of them. The gardens used to belong to a really big house that was over there.
I saw human bodies going out of the ward, leaving in body bags. It was bad.
They pulled it down to build the road bridge. The gardens became a park.
This guy next to me was suffering. He was asking to be allowed to die.
The currents can get nasty. My friend got in trouble just past the island.
I'm on this blood thinner. Not warfarin, but similar. Stops clots building.
That's why I photograph geese. They don't answer back or ever complain.
My wife, she got me this bike the other day to try and help me get fitter.
You can get really spiritual thinking about the river and the elements.
We went whitewater rafting in the Czech Republic with a crate of cold beer. The Dutch engineers rerouted the River Don. It used to flow into the Trent. I have a picture to share with you from that era, which I thought you might find interesting. Pictured outside is my great-great-grandfather Jesse, and a little boy beside him is my great-uncle Gordon. The shop was still there in the 70s when I was a child, and I remember going to visit. It was like stepping back in time. The building was a Yorkshire longhouse. First was the shop with all its fixtures, complete with glass handles and labels, a butcher's block, etc., and a general counter. Behind that was the parlour with stairs leading upstairs. There was a big old Victorian range there and a pine scrub top table with a small sofa and chair. Behind this was the storeroom. Behind the storeroom was the stable. And behind this was the earth privy. All the things I used when I was little. I can still remember watching my great uncle light the gas filaments in the lights. We only discovered the canal path during lockdown. We've lived here for years. I've been retired since I was 60. I took redundancy. I used to work in an FE college. I've done all sorts. Building work, school caretaker. I was a manager for the local authority. They respect you if you've done the job first.
It's been tricky with all the sites closed over lockdown. We don't mind people moving there, but to work or provide work, not to retire.
My mum moved back to East Stotworth across the river a few years ago. I mean, why do anything? What's the point of going up Everest? We moved to Cornwall and set up a water sports business. I've been in this state for 5 years now.
I just can't see any way out.
I can thoroughly recommend the Ferry Inn pub if you're ever looking for a good meal and a pint. If you ask for the Yorkshire pudding, just be warned, it's the size of a dustbin lid. They don't stint on the portions. Regardless of COVID, it just keeps flowing, like we're so insignificant.